One thing people rarely talk about in language learning is focus. We talk about apps, methods, flashcards, and immersion, but none of that works if your attention is scattered. If your study session is full of switching tabs, checking messages, or half listening while scrolling, you are not really learning. You are just spending time around the language. After years of learning multiple languages, I tried almost everything. And the biggest breakthroughs never came after a new method. They came from one shift. Pay attention to your attention. That's the real game changer. Because progress doesn't come from doing more, it comes from focusing better on the right things. In this video, I will show you how to train both how to focus and what to focus on, so you can learn the language more effectively. If you find this useful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. When you focus on something, your brain basically lines everything up behind it. Your perception, your memory, your thinking, all pointing in the same direction. That's when learning actually happens. The problem is this system was never built for constant interruption. We like to think we are good at multitasking, but research shows the opposite. People who multitask actually switch tasks more, remember less, and get distracted more easily. And language learning feels that immediately. Because learning a language isn't just about being exposed to it, it's about what your attention is doing while you are exposed. If your attention is weak or constantly jumping around, the brain processes everything on the surface. You hear the words, but they don't really stick. You recognize grammar, but you can't actually use it. That's why two people can study the same language at the same materials and for the same amount of time and get totally different results. Same input, different attention. There's another thing most learners don't think about: fatigue and stress. If you sit down to study after a long day, your motivation might be there, but your focus probably isn't. And that's not a character flaw, that's how attention works. And then there's one more trap. Spending a lot of time planning, worrying, picking methods, or getting ready to study uses the same mental energy as studying itself. So by the time you actually start, your attention is already drained. That's why so many people feel busy but stuck. They are doing a lot of around the language, organizing, planning, switching, but not actually training their attention on it. When we talk about focus in language learning, we're actually talking about two different skills. Imagine this. You have one attentional flashlight. Wherever you point that flashlight, your brain goes deeper. That's where perception sharpens, memory forms, and learning happens. Everything else kind of fades into the background. So language learning improves when you learn how to keep that flashlight steady and aim it at the right things. Let's break those two parts down. Part 1. Concentrated focus. How to study. Concentrated focus is about how to use your attention during a study session. In practice, it's very simple. One task, one resource, one short time window, usually 20 to 30 minutes, and no switching. No jumping between apps, no checking messages, no just one more thing. This matters because multitasking isn't really multitasking, it's just switching attention over and over again. That's tiring for the brain and it makes learning much weaker. When your attention stays on one task long enough, a few things happen. Sounds become clearer, meaning connects more easily, and memory sticks better. So before you start studying, do 3 things. First, pick one clear task. For example, schedule this short podcast or read this text slowly and deeply. Second, set a fixed realistic timer. 20 to 30 minutes is plenty. More time doesn't help if your focus is gone. Third, expect your mind to wander. This part is important. Losing focus is not failure. That's normal. The real training is this loop. Focus, notice, refocus, repeat. Every time you catch your attention drifting and bring it back. That's a mental rep. That's how attention actually gets stronger. Part 2. Strategic focus. What to study. The second type of focus is about where you aim that flashlight. A lot of learners can focus. They just focus on too many things, on the wrong things. Strategic focus means choosing activities that give you the best return for your attention. That usually means high-frequency inputs, not rare or overly advanced material, skills that transfer to real life, especially listening and speaking activities where there's a clear output for feedback. This matters because attention is limited. If you spread it everywhere, nothing goes deep. So not more content, not more resources, just a few things that consistently move comprehension and speaking forward. So before you choose an activity, ask yourself a few simple questions. Is this kind of language I actually want to understand in real life? Does this force me to focus on meaning, not just recognition? I know if I improve after doing this, if an activity doesn't clearly answer at least one of those, it's probably noise. Strategic focus is about committing to fewer things and repeating them deeply instead of doing everything once. Let me add one really important thing here. Your focus during language study doesn't start when you open a book or an app. Is shaped by what you do with your attention all day long. If your attention is constantly scattered during the day, it's going to be fragile when you sit down to study. That's just how it works. And this really clicked for me after listening to a podcast with neuroscientist Dr. Amishi Jha. If you guys are interested, check out the link in the podcast in the description box. Dr. Amishi Jha studies attention, and one thing she says is simple but powerful. Attention is trainable. Here are a few daily habits that actually help. 1. Short meditation. When people hear meditation, they think it's about relaxing or emptying your mind. It's not. It's basically attention training. You pick one thing to focus on, like your breath. Your mind wanders, you notice it, you bring it back. That loop, focus, notice, refocus, is the whole exercise. Dr. Jha explains like doing push-ups for your attention. And honestly, that's exactly what it feels like. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day makes a difference. You are not trying to be calm, you are training your ability to come back when your mind drifts. That transfers directly to language learning. 2. Do small things without your phone. This one is surprisingly powerful. Try doing simple things with full attention. Drinking your coffee, walking somewhere, eating a meal. No phone, no podcast, no scrolling. It sounds basic, but it teaches your brain that it doesn't need constant stimulation. And that makes it much easier to focus after when you actually want to. 3. Don't drain your focus right before studying. One last tip that makes a big difference. If you scroll social medias or answer emails right before a study session, you're basically using up your attention before you even start. If you can, give yourself a short buffer, a minute of quiet, a few deep breaths, a short walk. It helps your focus show up intact. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, is this. You don't need to study harder. You don't need more apps. And you don't need more hours in your day. You need to protect your attention and use it on purpose. When you change how you focus and what you focus on, everything changes. Your sessions get shorter, your progress becomes visible, and learning stops feeling frustrating or random. If this video helped you see language learning differently, give it a like. Subscribe if you want more practical advice and insight on language learning. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!